Have you ever left an interview thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I had asked this or I had asked that? Hey, we've all been there before. What if you could ask the type of questions that not only give you the information you want, but also leave a lasting impression with the hiring team? Stick around. I'm about to share 15 of my favorite questions to ask during an interview that could help you land your next job. Many job seekers focus solely on answering the questions. They prepare and do all the research and everything to have the best answers to any questions that are thrown at them, but they forget to bring questions with you. Those questions that you bring with you and you ask are going to show, hey, you've done your research, you've prepared, you have a genuine interest in this role and this organization, and that's going to leave a really good impression with the hiring team. So many times I've seen people when I've been interviewing, hey, do you have any questions? And I love to start an interview with, what questions do you have? And if it's questions about benefits or PTO or the answer is no, this isn't setting a good tone for the interview. So it could leave you looking disengaged or unprepared. So the challenge here is, what should you ask to stand out and then also gain insight to understand if the job is truly a good fit for you? My name's Rob. I am a former corporate HR professional that's had the awesome opportunity to work for some iconic brands in my career. And I am on a mission to take what I've learned from those companies and share it with you in hopes that you can land your dream job, get that promotion, or just survive corporate America. Today, we're talking about questions that we're breaking into categories that you can ask during your next interview so that you can show up really prepared and understand and make that interview a two-way street, that you're giving them information, but you're also interviewing them and getting information from them to make sure it's a right fit for you. All right, so let's go into number one. This is a simple question. Why is this job open? This can give you a ton of insight, right? It's probably the single most important question that you can ask. Give you insight is it a new position, right? That would indicate maybe the company's growing, or if it's from somebody who got promoted, right? That's another good indication. We'll get into another question similar in a few minutes, so stick around. But they may also have turnover issues, right? So if you hear like, oh, the last person left or they quit, sometimes and this will happen a lot in these questions, sometimes these interviewers will actually overshare and tell you too much information, which is awesome for you because you get an unfiltered response that you can help, again, ascertain if this is the right place for you. So let's go on to the next one. It's, again, another strategy-based question. Number two is, how does this role contribute to the success of the department and by extension, the success of the company? If you're in a role isn't mission critical per se, that could be a role that could, if there's a layoff coming, that could be first on the chopping block. And that's a problem. That could be some risk that you don't want to take. Asking that question really helps you determine, yes, this is a mission critical role and this is how you can contribute to it. And the other thing about all of these questions we're talking about is it offers the opportunity for you to then offer more information about you and what experience you bring to the table during this interview in response to their questions. So let's move on to number three. This is about departmental strengths and weaknesses, a category. What's the thing that this department does particularly well? And this is an opportunity for, say, the hiring manager to brag a bit about his team, saying, oh, this is what we do well, or whatever it is, right? But you can then pile on with saying, oh, I love that type of environment. That's the environment I thrive in. Or my last team was very similar to that. You'll know it in the moment. And it's just, again, another opportunity for you to just demonstrate your experience and kind of narrate your fit for the team and the organization. But in contrast, during an interview, they're going to ask you, what are your strengths and weaknesses, right? That's a question as old as job interviews. So you can turn the tables and ask the same thing. What's one area that could be improved? And if you excel in one of these areas that they are talking about, you can say, hey, we struggled with that in my last team as well. Here's how we overcame it, right? So you're listening for pain from that hiring manager, right, of struggles they're going through or what have you, and you're offering a solution, and that is a perfect scenario because that will, again, leave a lasting impression. Wow, this person could come on my team and really help me with something I've been struggling with for a while. So the other thing, though, to be cautious about when you ask them for what weaknesses or what could be improved is you have to listen for red flags of a toxic environment. Like, oh, my team doesn't follow my directions, so, I micromanage them. I'm just making it up. But if you're hearing those signals, think about it long and hard. If you do get that job offer, is that the environment you want to go into? Now we're moving into the category of long-term career growth, right? Because you want to also understand, you want to express interest in this role, but you want to also give a nod to what's next. So that first question, number 5, is what should I do in my first year that would get me and exceeds expectation on my review? So that shows your commitment to role you're interviewing for. And it also demonstrates that you're a high achiever, right? You want to get to that, exceeds expectation level. And then number 6, right? What happened to the last person in this role? Were they promoted? Did they leave? Again, based on which way this goes is very telling about the organization. If they got promoted, that does signal, oh wow, this is a manager who really develops their people and exports great talent to other areas of the organization. If they left, you might ask why they left. It could highlight, or again, the hiring manager may just volunteer it, but it could highlight areas of concerns that you want to watch out for. Okay, number 7, what are the long-term career prospects for this role? It helps you gauge if this is a dead-end job, right? Because we do have those roles that you become kind of a subject matter expert or a SME, right? And a lot of times when you are in those SME roles, and some people are quite happy to be in those roles, but if you want to grow your career and you find yourselves in one of those roles, you may be stuck there because they don't want to move you around because you are that subject matter expert and you'd be hard to replace. So be listening for cues about that. Is, okay, after this role, what would be a likely next role that I would go into in the organization? So the next category, we're going to talk about company prospects, right? So we talked about we talked about the team a little bit. Now we're going to expand out to the company prospects, right? What are the concerns about the company, again, to the hiring manager, that keep you up at night, right? This will give you insight into the challenges and the headwinds that the company is currently facing. And again, offers you that in to offer information from your experience or examples or what have you that speak to that problem that the organization is facing and further solidifies your candidacy for this role. So number 9, how is the company positioning itself with its competitors, right? Either in an industry-wise or even in a locale. So it helps you determine, are they in a growth state? Are they, just trying to keep the lights on? Maybe you love a challenge and you want to help this company and turn it around. That's great. But it also could make you say, I don't have that in me. I need more stability. Definitely gives you something to think about. Okay, number 10. If you could change one thing about this company, what would it be? Again, this is where you have to really employ that active listening in the interview, because you could be hearing some cultural red flags or some systemic issues that could signal a toxic work environment or a dysfunctional work environment or what have you. So again, make sure when you're asking these questions, you're actually actively listening and maybe even taking some notes. That also helps as well and does show the genuine interest in the role and in the company. Okay, number 11. Now we're going to drill back down, right? We went from a team level to a macro level. Now we're going back down and we're talking about the hiring manager or your would-be boss. And how long have you worked here? What made you join the company? Again, this is where you're going to see some opportunities for potential values alignment, right? And if you hear some signals, oh, I came here because it's a mission oriented organization, that's something you can pile onto and offer your observations or the fact that you thrive in a mission-based organization. If they're new, then you might just say, hey, why did you choose this company? Why are you sitting here today? And again, that could, open the door for some values alignment conversations. Okay, number 12. How would your team describe you and your leadership style? This could take some reflection. This could put the hiring manager back on their heels a little bit, but it's a great question just to understand what others may say. And sometimes they may not have an answer at the ready, so they'll just blurt the first thing out that comes to mind. Well, they might say I'm a micromanager. Red flag, right? But again, it could, open up some great dialogue between the two of you and as far as what leadership style you thrive under. Okay, number 13, how will my success be measured in this role? Expectations go both ways, not unlike a job interview, right? So it's important to understand how this hiring manager sets expectations, sets goals. Maybe they just fly by the seat of their pants and every day is a new day and here's a to-do list and off you go. If that's the environment you can thrive in, great. If not, then it again gives you some more information to make an informed decision if should you get that offer. All right, number 14, and we're almost there. And I forgot to say, if you like this type of content, please, I would be absolutely honored if you would give me a like. Let me know in the comments what you think, what your most challenging interview has been like, or what your most successful interview has been like. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd be absolutely honored if you would subscribe to the channel. Okay, but back to number 14. What about my resume stood out to you? I love this question because it really helps you understand what got you sitting there that day. And that answer should come pretty easy to the hiring team. But the other thing that it does, especially if you're on an interview loop, right? You've got multiple interviews, it gives you insight about what to focus on in future interviews right out of the gate. Because if that's what the first person liked, then you can lead with that stuff in future answers. So I absolutely love that question. All right, number 15, and I might even have a bonus question at number 16, so stay around. This is only if layoffs happen in the past. And quite frankly, the way things are going now, and I know I'm preaching to the choir out there, layoffs happen all the time. So if layoffs happened in the past, what is different now than it was then? Because that's going to help you understand what kind of risk you're going into. Now, could the environment change on a dime? Absolutely. But it's also helpful to understand how the company has changed moving forward, or if they haven't, right? They may have just said, okay, we had to cut budget, so we chopped off 15% of headcount, right? Because that's our biggest expenditure. Okay, well, what's different now? Is that better? Or is there going to be more? You never know, because companies are schizophrenic, right? They will be, on one hand, they're laying off people, and then on the other hand, they have job postings out there. And so if I'm interviewing for these, I'm like, what happened over there? And what's different now? That's a super important question. And then number 16, this is a little bit of a bonus, but it's one of my personal favorites, and I've used it often whenever I've interviewed for a job, is is there anything about this role that you find critically important that we have not discussed today, that opens the door to make sure you have sold yourself well in that interview and that you've left no stone unturned? So sometimes they will say, hey, you know what? We've gotten everything. We really appreciate your time. We're good to go. Others may say, you know what? We really didn't dive into whatever the topic is. And that offers you that one last chance to offer a great example, talk about your experience and why you're a good fit for this role. So I personally like that. So these questions are not just about making a good first impression. They give you insight into whether that company or that role is a right fit for you. And especially now with people being unemployed for a while, oftentimes we could just take what we can get, and I totally get it, but you need to go in with eyes wide open on what you're signing up for. And these questions will help you determine that. So be strategic, employ active listening. It's so important. Don't just ask the question and be teeing up your next one. Actively listen. And also look for signs where you can actually start having a dialogue about whatever topic is at hand as a result of those questions. Hopefully these questions will help you ace your next interview, and you'll be getting that offer letter any second now. Remember, you're just not trying to get hired. You're trying to find the right fit for you. So if you found this video helpful, like I said before, please like, subscribe. I'd be absolutely honored. And let me know in the comments. Let me know your interview horror stories, your interview success stories, or anywhere in between, or even ask me some questions. I'm always out there answering. So until next time, I wish you well. I wish you good luck in your interviews, and I will catch you later. Take care. This video was recorded and produced by Just Talk Studios, the premier video podcasting studio in Bellevue, Washington. Visit justtalkstudios.com to learn more and book your session today.